ஸ்ரீராம ஜெயம். ஆழ்வார் ஆச்சாரியர்கள் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஸ்ரீமதே ராமானுஜாய நமக. ஸ்ரீமதி நிகமாந்த மகாதேசிகாய நமக. கத்தவிருக்ஷா நேயர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் நமஸ்காரம். கத்தவிருக்ஷா வழங்கும் மார்கழி ஃபெஸ்ட், மார்கழி உற்சவம் நிகழ்ச்சியுடைய இன்றைய பகுதிக்கு உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் வெல்கம் பண்ணுறேன். நம்ம மார்கழி மாதம் முதல் நாள்லேருந்து பலவிதமான நிகழ்ச்சிகளை மார்கழி உற்சவமில் பார்த்துட்டு அனுபவிச்சுட்டு வந்துட்டுருக்கோம். அந்த வகையில் இன்னைக்கு ஸ்ரவணம், அதாவது திருவோணம். நம்ம ஒவ்வொரு மாதமும் திருவோணம் அன்னைக்கு பகவத்கீதை ஸ்லோகமும் அதுக்கான விளக்கம், அதுலேருந்து நம்ம கற்றுக்க வேண்டிய லெசன்ஸ் என்ன, இது எல்லாத்தையும் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு வந்துட்டுருக்கோம் இல்லையா? அதனால் இன்றைக்கும் மார்கழி உற்சவம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் இட் இஸ் திருவோணம் திருநாள் ஸ்பெஷல். இந்த மார்கழி உற்சவமில் திருவோணம் திருநாள் ஏன் அப்படின்னு நீங்கள் யோசிக்கலாம். பகவானே அந்த பகவத் கீதையில் மாதங்களில் நான் மார்கழி அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காரு இல்லையா? அதனால தான் குறிப்பாக மார்கழி உற்சவமில் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம இந்த சாப்டர்லேருந்து ஒரு ஸ்லோகம் கேட்க போகிறோம். அதுக்கான விளக்கமும், அதை மட்டும் இல்லாமல் நம்ம பக்தியை எப்படி வெளிப்படுத்த போகிறோம், பெருமாள்கிட்ட நம்ம எப்படி சரணாகதி அடையணும், அந்த மாதிரி சரணாகதி அடைஞ்சவாளுக்கு பெருமாள் எப்படி அனுகிரகம் பண்ணுறார், அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் ஆண்டாளுடைய பக்தியை பற்றியும் இன்னைக்கு சொல்ல போகிறா ஸ்ரீமதி ஸ்ரீவித்யா சத்யமூர்த்தி அவர்கள். இந்த சாப்டரில் வர ஸ்லோகத்துக்கும் ஆண்டாளுடைய பக்திக்கும் திருப்பாவைக்கும் என்னென்னலாம் சம்பந்தம் இருக்கு, இது எல்லாத்தையுமே நம்ம எல்லாரும் இன்னைக்கு தெரிஞ்சுக்க போகிறோம். எல்லாருமே அவளுடைய ஸ்பீச்சை கேட்டு அந்த பக்தியை பற்றியும் ஆண்டாள் நாச்சியார் பற்றி நம்ம எவ்வளவோ விஷயங்கள் கேட்டுன்னு இருக்கோம். பகவத்கீதைக்கும் ஆண்டாளுக்கும் இருக்கிற சம்பந்தத்தை கீதாச்சாரியனா அனுகிரகம் பண்ணுற அந்த பெருமாளுடைய சிறப்பை இன்னையோட எபிசோடில் நம்ம எல்லாரும் இப்போ தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம்.
நமஸ்தே, ஹரி ஓம், ஸ்ரீ குருபியோ நமஹ. Welcome back everyone to our impactful Gita verses session. We sincerely hope you have been enjoying our sessions and have had an opportunity to ponder over the chosen verses in our past sessions. Since we are in the lunar month of Margari or Margashirsha or Mrigashirsha, that is considered the holiest of all months, as Krishna himself says in the same chapter 10 that Masanam Margashirshoham, that means I am the month of Mrigashirsha among all the months. This month is well known for the celebration of Andal's Tirupave, and for that reason we chose the following verse from the Gita, chapter 10. We will go over a brief discussion on the meaning of the shloka and how we think it relates to Sri Goda or Andal. Om Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Geetha Atha Dashamodhyayah Vibhuti Yogah Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantah Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanti Cha. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Geeta Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vibhuti Yogo Nama Dashamodhyayah. The literal meaning of the shloka is, with their minds, this is Shri Krishna speaking, with their minds wholly resting in me and their senses absorbed in me, my devotees remain ever content. They derive great satisfaction and bliss in enlightening one another about me and in conversing about my glories. As always, we will briefly review the context of the shloka. In the 9th chapter, Lord Krishna had told Arjuna the royal secret, which was that whatever you do, submit it to me. This surrender of all actions to him seems simple and easy because anyone from a beggar to a king can practice it. But it is easier to say than practice this sadhana, as it needs strong moral and spiritual merit to practice. In modern times, it is even more difficult to practice. We even doubt the existence of God, let alone submitting everything to Him or her. In today's rush of materialism, we have no time to look beyond the current problem and think of anything else, even to have a few moments of peace and moments without clashing with each other. Large, strenuous efforts have to be made. In such a social situation, the simple idea of dedicating to the Lord everything appears extremely hard to imagine and practice. So, in the 10th chapter, Lord Krishna helps us to master this yoga of dedication to the Lord and make it easy to practice. The 10th chapter is a very important chapter in the Gita, as the Lord explains here that although I am the self, eternal and all-pervasive, I am the source of all names and forms. Krishna says to Arjuna, he explains the Lord's exact place and worth in the universe. This is the Vibhuti Yoga, that is, it describes the power and pervasiveness of the self in the words of Swami Chinmayananda. In the beginning verses, Lord Krishna explains how the entire macro and microcosmic universe originates from him, and that anyone who knows his Vibhuti, which is the macrocosmic manifestations, and his yoga, which are the microcosmic power, anyone who knows this truth becomes established in the yoga, and there is no doubt about this. He says, the wise who understands that I am the source of all and that from me everything evolves, and those who are endowed with this consciousness worship me. In other words, he's explaining in simple terms to us that he is in the large things like the mountains, oceans, etc. When we are able to say that, then we can experience his presence within and realize that he is in everything, even a drop of water or a speck of dust. That is, when we learn to see him in his simple manifestations, we are able to move on to see him in his complicated manifestations. Then he says that when these wise people, while wholly resting in his divine thought, mat chitta, with their prana or their body through their senses, mind and intellect, mat gata prana, when they discuss my glories and enlighten each other while doing so, these people, these wise people, are always content and in bliss. The nature of the mind is to become absorbed in whatever it likes the most. Devotees of the Lord become absorbed in remembering Him because they develop a deep adoration for him. His devotion becomes the basis of their life, from which they derive the meaning and the strength to live. They feel that it is as important to remember him, the Lord, as a fish feels that it is essential to have water. It's natural that when something is most dear to the people's hearts, they devote more time on that object. The love of parents for their children is visible in the fact that they are willing to sacrifice their time and efforts in their welfare. Likewise, the love of the devotees manifests in their dedication of themselves to the Lord. Shri Krishna says, Madgata Prana, meaning that his devotees surrender their lives to his service and devotion. Such a complete surrender brings contentment. Since devotees offer the results of their activities to their beloved Lord, they see every situation as coming from the Lord. Hence, they gladly accept both positive and negative circumstances as the will of God and remain equipoised or balanced in all situations. Since we talk about our object of love, we also manifest this on our lips. The devotees find great relish in conversing about the glories of God and his names and forms, his virtues, his pastimes, his abodes and devotees. In this way, by engaging in Navavidha Bhakti, but also involving our like-minded Bhagavatas or Bhaktas in discussions regarding the glories of God, we relish his sweetness and share it with others as well. By doing this, we also contribute to one another's progress by enlightening each other about the divine knowledge of God. Bodhayanti. Speaking and singing about the glories of God gives us, the devotees, great satisfaction, tushyanti, and delight, ramanti. In this way, we worship him through the processes of remembering, hearing, and chanting. This is what we call as satsang. When I was a student, I remember reading this. Tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are. So, when we choose our friends wisely, we can be in the path of devotion. In my humble opinion, Goda and her Tirupave, which are greatly celebrated throughout the south of India, especially during this auspicious month of Marghazi or Mrigashirsha, represents a highest example of conversing with one another about the great Lord, in addition to praising and enlightening each other about his glories. Sri Goda is one of the 12 Alvars in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, the only female to be given this honorable status. Sri Andal was born approximately 5,000 years ago. She was found as an infant near a tulasi tree in the Vrindavanam of her father, Sri Vishnuchittar or Periyarvar. Periyarvar named her Goda and brought her up by teaching her the highest principles of Vedanta, and she grew up immersed in divine love or bhakti for Narayana. Her exemplary devotion led her to perform a fast or nombu or vradam in order to attain the highest union with the Lord himself. She is the best example of divine love of the Lord in the Navarasa Bhakti tradition in Sringara Rasa. The purpose behind this nombu or vratam was to be eligible for the Lord Ranganatha of Sri Rangam to accept her as his consort. She was basically trying to emulate the Gopikas of Mathura, who performed such a vratam or nombu to attain Krishna. For the entire lunar month of Marghazi or Dhanurmasam, she composed one pasuram or song for each day with the grand finale of surrendering completely Kaya, Vacha, Manasa to Lord Sriman Narayana. These 30 verses are divided in different ways by different scholars, but for today's purpose, we will split them, as many of our gurus have taught us, in 6 sets of 5. In the first 5 pasurams, she describes the rules and steps for the nombu or vratam. In the second 5, she awakens her friends, 5 friends who are recently discovering the love of Lord. In the third set of 5 verses, she is awakening those blessed friends of hers who are already deeply in love for a long time with Krishna or Narayana. In the fourth set of 5 pasurams or songs, these friends with her collectively wake up Krishna's Dwarapalakas, then his father Nandagopan, and his consort Pirati or Neela, and then Krishna himself. In the fifth set of pasurams, the maidens or gopikas or young bhaktas prepare Krishna to make their appeal by praising his glory. In the last 5 pasurams, the gopis reveal the purpose of their visit, their fast or vratam, and they pray for the boons of the benefits of the fast, which was not to obtain treasures or beauty or glory or even moksham or liberation, but was to be reborn in the same kulam as Krishna and be able to perform kainkaryam or service to him eternally in life after life. There are many deeper ways of describing the classification and meanings of these verses, but we will leave that for a different session. Andal is held in the highest place, and her compositions, Tirupavas, are held in a supreme position in the Vaishnava tradition. Anantarvar has described them as Nissamo Tungavartah, that means they are unparalleled in the entire universe, and even though the Lord is decorated with numerous decorations and ornaments every day, Goda's Tirupave are ornaments that never lose their lustre or splendor. In fact, during the month of Marghazi, the Tirupave are sung instead of the Venkateshwara Suprabhadam in Tirupati to Lord Venkateshwara. The Tirupave hold a deep significance and meaning for Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and they are considered an essence of the Upanishads. While the Vedas or Upanishads may not be able to be recited by one and all, the Tirupave can be recited by anyone as they are easy to learn and still considered as equal to the Vedas. Just like the Kathopanishad tries to awaken each and every one of us with Uttishtata, Prabodhata, Jagrata, Andal via the Tirupave is awakening each and every one of us who is in deep slumber like Kumbhakarnan, or we are deaf or pretending to be deaf when those around us are immersed in divine bhakti and giving us subtle or not so subtle clues to awaken the divine light that is lying dormant within us, because we spend most of our days sleeping and then engaged in materialistic activities and spend very little time in divine bhakti. In fact, she went so far as to even wake up the great Gita Charya, Krishna himself. In one of the Tirupava Pasurams, she said, "Don't be so comfortably sleeping. on the bosom of your dear consort Neela Devi. Wake up and go about your duties of the day. Goda is telling us to come and sing his glory and submit and surrender ourselves to that divine Lord when all our faculties are still functioning, so that when we are in a state of disease or death, he will come and give us protection and take us to him. Lord Krishna has told us in chapter 18 that Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Quickly, the meaning of the Slokam is: abandon all dharmas of body, mind and intellect. Take refuge in me alone. I shall liberate you from all sins. Do not grieve. So let us conclude this session by praising that great Sri Goda who has shown us the way to supreme service, not only of the Lord, but also of mankind. Neela tungastanagiri tati suptamudbodhya krishnam pararthyam swam shruti satashiras siddham adhyapayanti svochishhtayam srajini galitam yabalat krutya bhunkte goda tasyai namaidamidam bhuya evastu bhuyaha. We are grateful for your attention and look forward to meeting you next time. Please forgive us any mistakes and share your thoughts and feedback in the comment section. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you very much for such a special episode of Bhagavad Gita. திருவோணம் திருநாள் மார்கழி உற்சவம் ரொம்ப அற்புதமான ஸ்லோகம், அதுக்கான விளக்கம். பக்தினா நவவித பக்தி இருக்கு. அதில் ஆண்டாள் நாச்சியார் எதை எடுத்துட்டா, திருப்பாவையில் ஒவ்வொரு பாசுரத்துலேயும் ஆண்டாள் நாச்சியார் நம்மளுக்கு ஒவ்வொரு விஷயம் சொல்லின்னு இருக்கா. அதில் அந்த 5 பாசுரத்துலேருந்தும் நம்மளுக்கு என்ன தெரிய வேண்டிய விஷயங்கள் இருக்குது, கோபிகைகள்லாம் அந்த கண்ணன்கிட்ட எப்படி பக்தி செலுத்தியிருக்கா, இன்னும் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் சொல்லிகிட்டே போகலாம். இது எல்லாத்தையுமே ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டேன். அண்ட் திஸ் இஸ் டெஃபினெட்லி அன் ஆப்ட் எபிசோட் ஆஃப் மார்கழி உற்சவம். Thank you very much again to Dr. Srividya Sathiyamoorthy. Viewers and audience, நீங்களாமும் இதை நல்லா எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பேன் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இதே மாதிரி தினம் மார்கழி உற்சவமில் இன்னும் நிறைய சிறப்பு நிகழ்ச்சிகள் வந்துட்டே இருக்கு. திருவோணம் திருநாள் எல்லா மாதமும் வருது. தொடர்ந்து எல்லாரும் மாதம் பகவத்கீதை ஸ்லோகமும் அதுக்கான விளக்கம், அதுலேருந்து நம்ம கற்றுக்க வேண்டிய விஷயங்கள் என்ன, அதெல்லாமும் கண்டிப்பாக தெரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. நாளைக்கு மார்கழி உற்சவம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் என்ன நீங்கள் பார்க்க போகிறேன் அதை பார்க்கணும்னா எல்லாரும் மறக்காமல் கதாவிருக்ஷாக்கு சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. தினம் கார்த்தால திருப்பாவையில் திவ்ய தேசம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் திருப்பாவை பாசுரம், அதற்கான விளக்கம் மற்றும் திவ்ய தேச வைபவம் நடந்துட்டு வந்துருக்கு. அதையும் கண்டிப்பாக எல்லாரும் மிஸ் பண்ணாமல் பாருங்க. மீண்டும் நாளை காலை கதாவிருக்ஷாவின் மார்கழி மலர் திருப்பாவையில் திவ்ய தேசம் நிகழ்ச்சியில் உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் சந்திக்கிறேன். அது வரைக்கும் நமஸ்காரம்.